Hey, Brandon here with subscriptions talk video for November 14th, I believe. I don't know. I never know. I should look it up so I don't say I believe in everyone. I don't know. But the reason that I'm a little bitter right now is this book you're looking at. As always, I have these ordered from least favorite to most favorite, and I hated this book with every fiber of my being. The only reason I got it is because of the Deodato cover. That's it. And I hated it. 100% hated it. I hated the art in this. It was really cartoony and just not detailed enough for. I hated it. 100% hated it. I thought it was some of the worst art I've seen in a long time. And I don't really know what happened in the story because I was so put off by the artwork. I just know that at the end, Strange challenges Brother Voodoo's brother to Sorcerer's Battle to the Death. So I hope that artist isn't doing that because I can't quit this and there's one issue left or so. I can't just saying nothing else. Another disappointing book of the week, Point of Impact number 2. For as good as the first one is, this one not so much. Nothing really happens in this. That's probably what happens. I mean, the police are there to question the suspect, and as you see on the cover here, he runs to the roof. He actually jumps across rooftops and, you know, gets away by doing that. And then Mitch, the husband whose wife got killed, he works for the newspapers, obviously. If you've been keeping up with this or not, and he goes to his boss and sees, because he sees in the paper that her story was already written. And he goes in there just blowing gaskets, saying, "How would you not let me write my own wife's story?" And he's just super upset about it, and he says, "You can't, you're too close to the topic, you're too close to the story, you are the story." And then he says, "Alright, then I quit and I'll write a freelance." And then Mitch goes to his sister-in-law's to just talk to her, see what's going on, and finds out that his wife was actually having an affair. So, I mean, there's an advance in the story, but the ending really confused me. It was some guy, I couldn't make out who it was, I think it might have been the suspect, but I'm not sure, following the two cops that were on patrol. They drove away in a car, and he drove away behind them on a motorcycle, and they went in some building. It didn't make sense to me, so hopefully it'll make sense the next issue. I don't know. Fantastic Four number 1. I don't know. Once again, kind of a little bit of a disappointment here. This is pretty much the first Fantastic Four book I've subscribed to, and I guess I expected a lot more. But the story starts that Reed finds out that he has kind of some of this molecular decay, that his cells are unstable, and he's wondering if theirs are too. And he has the idea that he has to go find a cure for this in the unknown space. So by thinking that, he devises this master plan that all the Fantastic Four, as well as their kids, they're going to take them on a space trip for a year. Although it's not going to be a year for everybody else, because not only is it a spaceship, it is a time machine too. Reed Richards. So, a year for them, a few seconds for everybody else, just seems to me like it's kind of a safety net. Like, no matter what story is written, no matter what happens, they can just say, oh, it didn't really happen. It just bothers me. And then it says this is continued in FF. So if FF is protecting the world while they're away, how can we have an FF book when technically for everybody else, they're only going to be away for a couple minutes or so? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Maybe it'll work out when I read FF. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, kind of just a little put off by it. We'll see how it works out, though. Extreme XMen number 6. Now, this book would have been a lot higher because it is very good and very well written. Although I feel like I'm kind of played out on the robots conquered the world and have everybody, they took over. And that's the story. It's rated Kurt Wagner's 12-year-old. Let me start this over. When Kurt Wagner was 12, they had like robots, and they lived on this like utopia where they had all this clean energy and life expectancy of 122 years and all this technology. But the robots gained sentience, and they wanted to kill everybody, and they basically killed all the humans, but somehow Kurt got away, and it was the first time he teleported. Well, when they were dimension hopping, him with the Extreme X-Men, he saw his parents, and he just jumped into a random portal that he saw, and it's back to his old, dimension, where the robots have taken over, and he's basically the only one left that's like a human. Other than some of the Sword members there, who were there for, like, treaties or whatever. But, I mean, I feel the story's going to be really great. There's a part where Mayor Howlett takes down a Tyrannosaurus, which is pretty sweet. Dazzler and Howlett are looking for Kurt. They find out that, he's being held by them. And then it's also found out that they plan on killing him. The robots plan on killing him if they ever come in contact with him. So, I mean, it's gonna play out, but, who knows? It also talks about how that all the robots on the, dimension aren't bad. Like, they're living lives as well. Dazzler says that the robots are people too. So, I mean, Dazzler's saying weird stuff. I don't know if that means she's going downhill or if it's just, a little bit of character development, but I mean, I still love the series. It's still great, but just not one of the best books this week. Superboy number 14. First Superboy I jumped on for this Hell on Earth story arc here. And I can't say that I knew what was going on for the first 5 pages because they were kind of talking about, fallout from previous story arcs or whatever. And I also didn't know that Tom DeFalco was writing this. I don't know if he just jumped on it for this story arc or if he's been writing it, but if he's been writing it, I'm going to have to pick more of these up because I've always, he's always been a very good writer. But the storyline, obviously, the Hell on Earth story arc, this mysterious man appears with what appears to be some type of rigid, kind of tribal, bizarro Superman logo on his chest. And he basically just starts to fight Superboy. He appears, insults him, and then just starts to fight him. And he is super powerful. He just, he tells the Teen Titans when they come to save Superboy that he could get rid of them with a thought. And then he just disappears with Superboy. So, obviously, a lot more to come. This is kind of trying to get you on to it, I guess, because I think it's the actual first issue of the Hell on Earth story arc. I think there was a prelude in Superman, but this is the actual first bit of it. So, I mean, pumped about it, but we'll see what happens. All new X-Men number 1. Different. Very different. I see that it's kind of more of telling you what's going on right now. So I feel that the next issue is going to be a lot better than this. But they're just telling you, like, Beast is going through another mutation. And it's revealed that Cyclops has actually joined with Magneto and Emma Frost in, like, wrangling up and gathering these new mutants to bring into, like, their coven, or whatever you want to call it. Hank actually is going through this mutation, and it's extremely painful for him. He doesn't know if he's going to live or die. So, I mean, it's a crazy little moment for him. But they're talking about what to do about Cyclops, like, that he wouldn't want to do this when they were, the original X-Men. So, Beast actually goes back in time. Yes, he does. And it felt very Cable-ish, if that's a good way to describe it, because he just traveled back in time to save the future, and I felt like it was a Cable book, and I'm not going to say that I didn't like it. But, excited to see more. It's very promising. It was well written, so, hope for the best. Avengers Assemble number 9. Now, coming into this book, I was bitter of how they wrapped up their last story arc with Thanos, and how they just said, oh, he's dead, but coming into this first couple pages, I realized it's pretty good. Although, if I could explain this book, I would have to say that if somebody went out and saw the Avengers movie, and they were already a writer, but didn't really know a lot about it, this would be the book they would write. Because it's they kind of very movie-like characters in this. They're witty with each other, there's a lot of quick humor back and forth. I mean, the writer, Kelly Sue DeConnick, obviously knows about the universe and obviously knows about these characters, but just the way it does it seems like it's very influenced by the movie, and maybe that's what it's aimed at. Maybe this is aimed at readers from the movies, but who knows? It would be a good platform to jump on, though. But there's this missing scientist named Sergio. I don't know. Whatever, some some foreign name. I can't remember what it is right now. But he got lost in Antarctica. And Banner and Stark start talking and then arguing and saying that my team could get there before yours, and Hulk's like, my team will get there before yours. But then they try to get teams and nobody wants to join. Well, eventually Spider-Woman says she'll join Hulk, and then Thor says he'll join Iron Man. So we have Iron Man and Thor versus Hulk and Spider-Woman. Well, they take off, they go, and Iron Man and Thor get there first, and there's these big crazy ice monsters. They take care of them, and then that's when Hulk and Spider-Woman show up to actually assist in the getting rid of the monsters. Then they find that, all the scientists are dead or whatever. But the storyline wasn't even important, because, I didn't care about that. This book was really good, just off of the dialogue and just the back and forth between the characters. It was very well done, and I really enjoyed it. Oh, yes, Gambit number 5, I believe. I have just been loving this book since it came out. And this one doesn't disappoint either. I'm not a fan of the cover with, the British flag back there, but, whatever. But very good. It was a very good book. It opens up, Gambit is forced to do a job for Sitch. And when he's using his powers a lot of different ways now. There's a lot of character development in this book, and I'm loving it. For one, he's riding a motorcycle, and he's probably done this before, but he charges it and throws it into a truck in front of him. That's pretty sweet. And then, but one of the ones that I never even expected to see is he had to break into, this safe, and he had to use a keypad. Well, nobody knew the codes, so he charged the keypad, but he can't charge, organic material or living material, and there was bacteria on it, on the thing from their fingers. So it didn't charge the fingers, so you could see what buttons were pushed. That's awesome. That is a very well-written little tidbit there, and I was super excited to see that. He's there to steal, these teleporters for Sitch, and then, he gets all excited and says, oh, you bring a thief to steal teleporters. And he grabs one and tries teleporting, but Sitch was ahead of the game, and he had him teleported back to his plane. And then, he does this little weird, crazy thing where he says he's going to kill him and drops him out of the plane, and right before he's about to hit the ground, he teleports him back into the plane, and they put an anklet on Gambit now. So, so he can't die. They have control of him. But, very good book. They're heading to UK now for the real test, for the real job. So, we'll see what happens there. The last panel shows Wisdom. I saw him in the 90s. I ran into him. He was in a weird, 3-issue series. It was called Pride and Wisdom, and I don't know. He has some type of finger powers or something. I don't know. But I'm going to cut this into 2 halves again, although it's not really half. It's going to be 2 books in the other one. I just don't want this one to go too long. So, see you next video.